I think we're about to start and Darren is on mute.
Yeah, well, not anymore.
Good.
I'm just waiting for another of our student. Izini, there she is. And there she is. Okay, good. Yeah, so very welcome to all our prospective students for this OKP webinar of 2022. We really appreciate your time. You take your time off from your busy schedule to come and see this webinar. It's very important that we have this webinar so that you know the process of how to apply for this scholarship. Today here with me, we have Wieke Blauw, who is the Senior Policy Advisor at ISS. We have Els Veldman, she is the Admission Officer at ISS, and we have two students who have received this OKP scholarship last year. Gabriella Anderson, she is from South Africa, and she is in the Governance and Migration and Development major. And Izini, can you please remind me where you're from again? Is it Nigeria?
Nigeria, yes.
Yes. Izini is from Nigeria, and she is in the Human Rights Program. Am I right?
SJP, yes.
SJP, the Social Justice and Perspective Program. So without further ado, and of course me, I forgot to introduce myself. So my name is Darren, and I'm responsible for the student recruitment at ISS, particularly for the master program. I do this every year to promote the OKP scholarship. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Wieke Blauw, who will start the presentation. After that, she will be introducing the two students and also Els from the admission office. And right after that, we will have the Q&A session. So in between, if you already have questions that you would like to ask, you can already start to type it. And then I will take it down, and then I will ask it later during the Q&A session. And just so everyone knows that this session will be being recorded live, so that we will send it to you once this session is over, so you can have a look again at your own convenience. So without further ado, I invite Wieke to give a presentation, but before that, let me just share the presentation slides. And there you go.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you for your introduction, Darren, and welcome everyone to this webinar, which will be entirely dedicated to the Orange Knowledge Program, or maybe for some of you still known as the NFP Scholarship Program. It's the same program and it changed its name a couple of years ago. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the Netherlands right now, a bit rainy, a bit cloudy outside. And for you, it may be early in the morning or late in the evening, wherever you are. Welcome to this webinar, and I hope it's fruitful and interesting for you. And please do ask your questions in the chat function after the presentation that will be given by me and the introduction by Els and Ezine and Gabriella. We will have ample time to answer the questions that you raise. So let me start with an introduction of the program. I will give a presentation which will last about 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. I will talk you through the application procedure. I will explain to you the eligibility criteria. I will pay special attention to the motivation and the employer statement, as those are crucial. And then I will look into the practical arrangements, and then both Ezine and Gabriella will share their experiences, and I hope they have good tips for you how to prepare a good application for the OKP program. Darren, could you move to the 2 slides further, because I keep talking. Yes, so let's focus on the OKP application procedure. The first step is to apply to ISS. and you have to apply before the 15th of February. So you have about 4 weeks time left, and applications are dealt with on an ongoing basis. So you can apply at any time, and in fact, we get already many applications are coming in. So you first apply to ISS to Master in Development Studies, and you select one of the majors that we have on offer. And as soon as you are accepted to the program, you will receive an admission letter, and together with that admission letter, you will receive information. And if you're from one of the eligible countries, you will receive the information to apply for the OKP scholarship from the admission office. You have time to apply in this database, the OKP database, in February until mid-March. ISS is doing a first check on eligibility. Then we are allowed to nominate candidates to the NAVIC, to the manager of the program. So we have to send in our nominations. The next step will be that the embassies are looking at the nominated candidates from all over the Netherlands, and they select and nominate candidates as well. And then the decision on the allocation of the scholarships will be announced after the 2nd of June, more or less. And that information will come from ISS as well. I would like to emphasize, and I put it in red in this statement, that you are allowed to submit only one application. So the OKP scholarship system is one scholarship system for the whole of the Netherlands. So you cannot apply to a program at ISS and as well for a program, for example, at the University of Amsterdam, because that will show up in the system. And as soon as the system detects that you have 2 or more applications, your application will immediately become a non-eligible candidate application. And every year we see a few of those applications, and it's really a shame because, well, you're out of the system. So please make sure that you make up your mind and you apply for one program of your choice. Another point I would like to raise is that you also should check your spam box. We know that sometimes the emails from the admissions office are ending up in spam box. So please make sure you check the spam box. Now I would like to focus more on the eligibility and the nomination procedure. In a minute, we will show you the list of countries where you can apply from. So that's the first eligibility criteria that is decided by the Dutch government. We will also check whether you submitted an employer statement and whether the employer statement is complete and correct. We will also look whether there is a government statement needed and whether you uploaded the right one. You have to upload a valid passport, your motivation, and it's also what we are also looking at when checking the eligibility is whether you're not employed by an international organization or an organization with own means for staff development, because also then you are not eligible. So then when we are preparing our nomination as ISS, we look at the countries and even spread over the countries, of the 37 countries. We also look at the priorities of the program, I'll get back to that later, the program and of the embassies, the Dutch embassies. And we also look at the coherence between the motivation and the employer statement. So let me now get to the OKP country list. We're going to show you the list, but you can also find this list on the ISS website, and we will share the PowerPoint with you so you can do a check later on as well. So I will now first talk you through the employer statement and the government statement. The employer statement should be structured along a certain format, and this format you can find on the website. Part of the employer statement is also an action plan for what you're going to do with the knowledge obtained in the study program in ISS. I will get back to that in a minute when I focus more on the motivation statement. There should also be a commitment of your employer to pay the salary. And it's also important that it's your current employer, because the employer will also be checked by the Dutch embassy. And we know that they either pick up the phone and call the employer or the person who signed the employer statement, or they send an email. So please make sure that the employer statement is coming from someone who is contactable, so who will be answering the phone or reacting or responding to emails coming from the Dutch embassy. Let me check. Yeah, now I get to the government statement. That is a requirement by your own country, and we listed the countries for which a government statement is needed. And it's a kind of permission to go abroad. So please check in your own country whether something like a government statement is needed, and check with the admission office what a government statement should look like and who should sign it, because there are certain rules for government statements which are different for each country. So let me get to the motivation. And here it's important to keep in mind the purpose of the OKP program, and that is capacity building. So the program is meant to work on capacity building for your country or for your employer. So therefore, it's also important in the employer statement that the employer makes clear why they send you abroad to study and obtain a master program, and how the organization will benefit from this training of you as employee. It's the motivation that you have to write as well consists of 3 boxes. The first one is the issue you want to address in your country, then how this specific program, the MA in Development Studies, will enable you to do so, and then how you will address this issue within your position within your organization. Also in the employer statement, you have to provide an action plan to explain how you are going to present or share the knowledge that you obtain in the Netherlands with your employer. And here in this motivation, it's also important to be realistic in what you can do. You are not a minister in your country, so you can't change the whole structure of the country. That's something to keep in mind. And be realistic in what your current position can really get to when you have got this the MA in Development Studies from ISS. So the OKP program is focusing on the priority areas of the Dutch government. And those are mainly food security, rule of law, water, sexual and reproductive health and rights. And in general, also gender and human rights are important priorities. These are the overall priorities for this OKP program. And every Dutch embassy has made their own selection on which priorities they want to focus. So I would advise you to go to the website of the Dutch embassy in your country and find there the country plan. And there they will address which priorities they want to address in the OKP program. It's also important to use the same words, jargon, that the Dutch embassy is using to connect more easily to the officer at the embassy who is looking at the applications. So if you, for example, working in anti-corruption department, make sure you use the word rule of law. When you work with children, make sure you link it to child's rights and human rights. So it's important to connect to the way of presenting of the Dutch embassy. So you can check on the Dutch embassy website how they phrase it and phrase their policy, and please make sure that you attune to that, because some embassies have to go through many applications for the OKP scholarship, and you want to jump out somehow. Also important is that you prepare your motivation in advance. And in general, you have like 1,000 characters, and please be aware that this is not 1,000 words, but characters. So that's, well, 1 paragraph, less than half an A4. So this was a lot of information. Let me now get to the practicalities and end this presentation with listing the practicalities. Like I said, the OKP application webpage opens in February and is available until mid-March. When you are applying, you have to upload all the documents in one go. So you can't go back to your application later on. So please make sure that you prepare all your documents in advance, that you write your motivation statements and copy and paste it from a Word document or something else into the database. It's also important to start in time with the preparations of the employer statement and the government statement and the passport, because that sometimes takes quite some time. You have to make sure that you upload all the relevant documents in time. And this is something you can do already now, so to say. Also, let me see what else I should explain here to you. Oh yeah, very important. You have to upload all the documents in one go, but we at ISS, the admission office, has access in the back office to your application. So if you find out that you missed something or uploaded the wrong document, please contact the admission office and they can change it in the background, your application. I think this was my quite short presentation. I think it's a lot of information. If you have any questions, please do ask them in the chat environment. We can get back to that later. But now I would first like to ask Els from the admission office to introduce herself and the work done by the admission office. Els, can I ask you to take the floor?
Yes, hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Els Veldman. For the ones who have been admitted already, you will have noticed my name at the bottom of your admission letter, but I don't do the work all alone. Of course, I have two other colleagues, and that is Marianne van Dieren and Amina Said. So the three of us, we take care of all the applications that come in to the Osiris system, so the admission portal. We make sure that all your applications are complete, and we will process your application for admission, and they will be looked at by the Board of Admission. And once you have been admitted, we will send you the official letter of admission. In a few weeks' time, we will send you an email with the link to apply to the Delta system. That is the system in which you should submit your OKP application. And also an email in which we explain all the details, what you should do and how you should do that. And then, as Wieke has already explained, a lot of people will have a look at your application, your OKP application, I mean. And once we get the list from the NUFIC of all the people that are awarded an OKP award, we will let you know that you have been awarded an OKP scholarship. That is always a very festive moment, and always a moment that not only you, but also we at ISS look forward to. And then we will send you the official award, and once you have accepted, we'll start visa application for you, so you don't have to do that yourself, and send you all kinds of useful and practical information during the summer months. So that's basically what we do. At the moment, we are very busy with all your applications. A lot of people have already been admitted, but also a few, or quite a few, are still in the process. So I would like to take this opportunity to all of you, if you have not made up your mind yet to apply to ISS and think this is an interesting institute, I want to apply, please do. And as Wieke already said, you can start your documents for the OKP application already now, so don't wait until the last moment, because then it may be that internet is out or you can't get all the documents together. So that's my tip for now. I think that's it.
Thank you, Els. And I noticed that we both have the same background, which is the stairs in the ISS, the main stairs in the ISS, which says welcome to ISS in many different languages. And maybe I can move a bit sideways to show you all the languages that are there. And I hope that one day you can come here and see whether your language is there as well. Now I would like to ask Ezine from Nigeria to introduce herself, and maybe you can tell a bit about your background, your professional background, and how you prepared your application for the OKP scholarship. Izzy.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Ezine Aningwe. I am from Nigeria, from the southeast part of Nigeria, Igbo by tribe, above all, I'm a Christian. So I have been working as a broadcast journalist for more than 8 years, and I've been exposed to lots of human rights issues, hence my interest in joining the course in ISS. That is Human Rights, Gender and Conflict Studies, Social Justice Perspective, SJP. So how did I hear about it? It was through a friend, actually, also in the broadcast media industry. And he mentioned it to me. He graduated last year, interestingly, December. So he mentioned it, that was last 2 years, 2020. And yeah, he knew about my interest. He knew about my work in the media. So when he mentioned his journey and how he got accepted into ISS and then got the OKP scholarship, I took interest as well. And I started my journey. Like already mentioned by you, the processes, the admissions as well, else mentioned the procedure. The key is to start early. Start writing your motivation early. And talking about motivation, it was informed from what I already do, or what I've been exposed to, human rights issues. And then I took a particular interest as well. I am taking that interest right now in my course of study on conflict and peace studies. And I'm taking courses that would help me possibly to specialize much later in that regard. Based on my experiences as a person, I've always taken a liking to peace, whether in the family or in relationships. And then, of course, you take it to a larger context. So the courses I'm taking now are very much apt for that interest, and I'm going to see that materialize into something much better in the future, I hope. So yeah, you need someone to hold your hand, because most times in life, you make journeys like this, you need someone to also be there to scrutinize the process for you. And like I said, I was privileged to have someone who is already an old batch graduate of ISS. So then he held my hand. He knew my background. He knew what I was up to. So I looked up to him for review of the process. So I did my writing of application, my writing of motivation as early as possible. And I shared with him, Vincent, is his name, Vincent Ede. So he helped me to scrutinize, the process, and it came out good, thank God. So yes, you need someone to help you through with that as well. And ISS, the beautiful thing about ISS, the diversity, it's beautiful, it's amazing. And you're not just learning the different courses that you have in mind to learn, you're also learning cultures. It's a multicultural environment. You're learning food. If you're a foodie, like I am, I've been able to eat from different cultural, culture, different cultures. Yes, let me put it that way. I've eaten from Ethiopia to Mexico to Indonesia, etc. The list goes on. So yes, it also affords you that opportunity to learn from different environments, different perspectives of what obtains in your particular interest of study. So that's one beautiful thing. And ISS is also in one place. The welcome team, it was warm when I came in here. That was last year, August. I came in earlier before the program started in September 2021. So I had quite a warm welcome. And yes, it was good having someone on the ground who already coached me through the process. And it made it easier, right? So that's the much I can say for now. But it's a beautiful journey, and it takes courage for you to take this step and to want to advance in your career. And one thing I'll say lastly is do your best and then leave the rest to God. If you believe in God like I do. So that's what I did, and I'm glad to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ezine, for your elaboration and your explanation how you got to ISS. And here I would like to mention also the Facebook group for prospective students as a way to be in touch with current students, but also with other prospective students to gain ideas and to be motivated to apply to our program. And now I would like to ask Gabriella to tell a bit about herself and her professional background and how she prepared her application. Gabriella, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gabriella Anderson. I am from Johannesburg, South Africa. The way I came about finding about ISS and the OKP program, South Africa their Department of Education has a website that has a link to a bunch of higher education scholarship opportunities. So actually first I found out about OKP and then the OKP institutions, which is ISS itself. So that was very, very nice. It did help me a lot. My professional background before this, I was part of an organization that provided an alternative way to teaching mathematics and English literacy to children. In South Africa, what we found is because of like our colonial history as well, and our main language of formal communication is English, but we have 11 official languages in South Africa, from Zulu to Afrikaans, and there's a big disparity. If you're teaching someone who speaks Zulu at home, and then they come to school and they only speak English, or they're only teaching in English, there's a bit of an issue with that. And as well, I volunteered for the UN through online volunteering as well. I was a geographic mapper. What we do is we use satellite imagery and we map rural areas in Tanzania to help girls escape from female genital mutilation, FGM. But yeah, the application process, I'm actually so excited hearing all about this. I can definitely relate to what you're all feeling right now. It's quite scary, but it's exciting at the same time. And as Vika said, you need to jump out. Anything if I could say to you would, you need to be your authentic self and use writing to your advantage, especially in an application process. It's not that you have to be the best in the room, but you need to be able to engage an audience. What I've come to love about ISS while being here is that everything is relevant and everything is important. So those experiences you have, no matter how small you think they are, or even if you think they're lacking, they still changed your life in some way and shaped you as a person, development practitioner or researcher. So the application is just about that, but on paper, and emphasize more. You need to be surprising and inspiring, but also mention your humanity, that you have flaws and there is room for learning and improvement. And you're humbled to accept that, because ISS, even the professors, if they don't know an answer to something, they will say it authentically and in truth. So I'm excited for you and good luck for your journey. I'm here if you need any help at all. And if you want me to share my contact information, I'm sure to proofread your application as well, because it is in English. That's another thing. Be very careful of those grammar errors.
Thank you, Gabriella. I think it's very interesting and motivating for people listening to these presentations to hear your and Ezine's experiences in how to prepare your proposal. So now I would like to open the floor for questions, and I saw in the chat quite some questions are coming in. So Darren, could you highlight a few questions?
Yeah, so there are a lot of questions about the employer statement, what it entails. I don't know, is it else or maybe Vika? Maybe you want to explain a little bit more about the content or template, or of how an employer statement should be.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of the things coming in the chat box, and I would first say, don't worry. We have a template for an employer statement. It is on our website. If you click on OKP program, you will see all the information that is needed. There is a link to an employer statement. If you can't download it, or for whatever reason are unable to see it, please let us know, so you can send an email to the admission office. We can also send it to you as a separate attachment. It is a few pages. And it is actually really easy to follow what is there. The first page mentions the 6 things that you and your employer need to sign for, and the rest entails comments you need to make on your organization, on your activities. You need to make a plan for what you want to do with your MA degree once you have returned to your country. So don't worry, it is there.
Also, I think you also have to tick boxes in which priority areas of the Dutch embassy it's lying, right? So this is also quite important. Also, well, don't tick all boxes because that's not realistic, but also see where it fits in, I would say.
Yeah, and it can be more than one, eh? So it's not that you have to just tick one. Your activities can be in one or more of the main themes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Els. There is still another question about employee statement. It's about the salary, because some students are asking about, do they still need to work? Does it mean that they have to work during their study? Maybe you can explain a little bit more about this.
Yeah. Well, on the first page of the employer statement, there are 6 things that you, like I said, you and your employer have to sign for, actually your employer. And the first one is your employer has to agree to pay you a salary during your study here at ISS. That is unfortunately, that is one of the main requirements in order to be eligible to get an OKP award. Basically, the OKP scholarship is almost a full scholarship. It covers, basically all the costs that the monthly costs that you have here in the Netherlands. So you get a monthly allowance of which you pay your rent, and then you will have sufficient money left to sustain yourself for food and stuff like that. So a salary payment is one of the requirements, and also may come in handy in case you are a bit short or in case you need a bit more money. But yeah, it is a requirement.
Thank you, Els. I'm not sure if you mentioned it earlier about the government statement template. Is there anything like that in the website, or something that you will be providing?
Yeah, there is a basic statement that some country representatives use as a government statement. But also usually the government's body that has to fill in that statement know the OKP program, and a lot of those organizations or a lot of those bodies have their own template. If you or your government body doesn't have that, you can use the one that is mentioned on the ISS website. It's a very basic one, so I'm not sure if that can be used, but you can use that.
Okay. Thank you, Els. I'm just going through all the questions, so give me some time.
Maybe you can read through the questions there, and I see here a question: what are the key social policy issues that the OKP scholarships look at mostly in a scholarship award? And I think I can answer that question now. This is related to the priority areas that I mentioned. So that's rule of law, water, reproductive health, and food security. And what we've seen that although it's not a formal priority area, but in general, all embassies also consider gender issues and human rights issues as a priority area. And for the rest, I would advise you to look at the website of the Dutch embassy. I also noticed a question in the chat environment: what if there's no Dutch embassy in your country? Indeed, there are some countries where there's no Dutch embassy, but those countries are covered by one of the neighboring countries. So the neighboring countries where there is a Dutch embassy, they have a policy document that is dealing with the whole area where the Dutch embassy is responsible for. So you should be able to find it at that website.
Thank you, Vika. There's a very specific question. If I work at OAS, can I still apply for the OKP scholarship?
No, the OAS is the Organization of American States, I suppose. And that is a large organization, and then you are not considered eligible for an OKP scholarship, unfortunately.
Okay, good. Employee statement. What if someone is not currently working? Is there a possibility to apply for the OKP scholarship?
No, again, unfortunately not, because the whole principle of the OKP is that it's working on capacity building of the organization that you are working at. So you should be employed by an organization and nominated by your organization for the scholarship.
Gabriela, yes, you can share your email address to students. If also to Izini, if you would like to share your email address, that's also okay. I leave it completely to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if you would feel uncomfortable, you can also, for the audience, look in the Facebook group if there's someone willing to look at your motivation statement, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I think the answer is no, but I still ask it. If I have my own savings instead of a salary from an employer, can I still apply for the OKP scholarship?
No. There again, it's also a commitment for the employer to show the commitment of the employer that they support your application to a master program in the Netherlands. So it's also showing the commitment of the employer that they continue to pay your salary. So that you can't replace that with own savings. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. There is not any more question about. There is not much question anymore. I'm just going to go through up to see if I have missed anything. Okay. Now, I have a few questions that these are all the top questions that students normally ask. So I thought that maybe I can just put it out here to see if anyone could answer it. Maybe it may be useful for prospective students who wants to apply for the scholarship as well. Maybe this question more for the two students, Gabriela and Izini. When you're writing your motivation letter for the OKP process, maybe you can give a pointer of two in what kind of direction that students should take, and also what kind of information they should put in when they write their motivation letter. Maybe Gabriela, you can go first, and then Izini.
Yeah, of course. As they said, you need to, of course, follow the logistics and everything that needs to be in your motivation statement, including your theme. You really, really need to emphasize that. It's country specific, and it's something that will really depend if you get into the program or not for the scholarship. But try and relate your experiences to what you want to do, how you can apply it to your studying, and how you can use it all in the future, especially also in terms of your employer, because this is for mid-level career professionals. It's the whole basis of the scholarship. So you must take your logistics as well, but include some inspiration. We all want to be change makers as well, but we must do it in an attainable and in a realistic way. So be practical. Use practical examples of ways you can actually make a change. You can't say, I want to change the whole world. You can say something specific to a local context as well. And the jargon, as they were saying earlier, is very, very important as well. Yeah, it's a process. You will revise your application a lot. Get other people to read it as well. Read it out loud to other people, because sometimes when you read it out loud, this is my teaching background coming in, when you read it out loud, processes differently in your brain, and then you'll see, okay, actually that doesn't make sense. And just remember, you're writing for the person reading your application. Even though it's about yourself, just remember about the person reading the application. Zina, do you want to add anything else?
Yes, Gabriela, you already said most of it. The first thing about writing the motivation is to be mindful of the theme. I saw someone ask a question in the chat to be sure of the thematic areas once again. So you need to understand what is required by OKP. What are the theme areas? For example, gender, based violence issues, governance issues, or different themes. So for me, these themes help me to contextualize in Nigeria and to look out for some issues that we have talked about being in the media. Sexual-based violence, which was on the increase during the COVID lockdown. So that was a pointer for me. I also could relate to security issues that led to the hashtag #EndSARS protests. So that also informed my writing of the motivation. So like Gabriela said, be mindful of the theme, the expectation, and contextualize. Look around you. There must be something that you could relate to with the theme, so that you write it and it's as real as possible, something that you can apply. And interestingly, why you need to do that is maybe it might happen to you as well when you get here, is that that would also maybe form a part of your examination in the term 1, like we had in Politics of Modern Development. Having a good understanding of that, the issue you want to tackle, your motivation could also be something that would help you here in writing your exam. So yes, that's more like an expo.
Yeah, and if I can maybe add, Darren, as well, for your program specific answers as well, like I'm in migration, so add migration examples, very specific to what you want to study. Again, it touches more specifically on each theme. For me, it was security, and that way it will make your application stand out. But I do see other questions in terms of the application. Someone's asking, can we start writing the motivation even before the official nomination? Yes, you only get nominated after you submit your application, if I'm correct, administratively. So you submit an application, then you get nominated, and your motivation statement already goes to the OKP company or the organization. And then there's another one asking, where was it? It was here. If you need to submit 2 motivation statements, one to ISS and one to OKP. No, it's only one. You only have to do it once. Thank goodness.
Well, maybe I can give a small correction, because it is slightly different, in fact, because when you are applying, we also have many students who are not eligible or not for a scholarship from OKP. So we also have fresh credit students, or students with their own means or different ways. And so the selection board at ISS is much more looking at your motivation for a specific major that you want to study and what you would like to learn in your study program. Whereas the motivation for OKP is more focusing on how you are going to use the knowledge that you obtained in your professional life. So I think you can use it very much, but you will have to attune it. It's different, but it comes, of course, from the same heart and person.
Yeah, I think they were quite confused about like if you have to write 2. So ISS receives an OKP application, and then the OKP organization receives one. But yes, it's separate nomination.
So
motivation.
Yeah. So you first apply to ISS in a special ISS environment, and all that information is on the ISS website. Then it's going your application for the ISS program. There you also have to submit a copy of your transcript and your diploma and reference letters and everything. So that's a completely different procedure. Then you receive an admission letter if you're accepted, and with that admission letter, you make the next step to apply for the OKP scholarship. And there you need the employer statement, maybe a government statement, and the motivation specific for the OKP scholarship.
Yeah, and we could
let me quickly add there.
Sorry, go ahead, isn't it?
Thank you. One thing that you should also be mindful of is the prompt in whatever you're doing in the writing of application. And eventually when you get the scholarship, be prompt. I remember somebody asked a question about those countries that don't have embassy. Nigeria doesn't have Dutch embassy. So being prompt also helps you when you get to that point, because we had to travel to Cotonou, some had to go to Ghana, and thankfully we had a WhatsApp group for some of us in Nigeria who came through OKP, but different institutions. So networking with each other helped us through the process, and being prompt, because the delays could come because it's not in the country. So I think being prompt right from your application process down to when you get the award of scholarship and then coming here, it's very, very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a question here, and I think the question is misread. It's about the numbers of applications. Maybe just roughly the numbers. I think we receive around 300 applications, more or less, for people who want to apply for the OKP scholarship. Of those, some are not eligible because they're not from the right country or for another reason, or they do not manage to get the documents in time. So we have like 200 applications actually in the OKP system, in the Delta system. And of those, we can nominate, normally, we don't know the exact figure yet, but a bit over 100 candidates we can nominate to the program, to the OKP program, and we get between 25 and 50 OKP scholarship holders each year. It depends very much also on the budget available for the Dutch embassy, and also on the quality of the applications compared to the applications in the whole of the Netherlands, because there's a total budget and it's not divided per university. So we are all competing, or all applicants are competing with all other applicants for master programs in the Netherlands. So this is about the number of, the chances you have.
Yeah. Sorry, I misread the question, because I thought the person was asking how many students are there per year at ISS. So thanks for clarifying.
And that's indeed between 120 and 150 in the master program in development studies. And next to that, we have another master program in public policy, but that's not eligible for OKP. And we have a very large PhD program. Yeah.
Very good. And I see that somebody has initiated to start a WhatsApp group for all the students who would like to apply for this scholarship. So that is really good. So you can help each other out. And also maybe you can invite Izene and Gabriela also to the WhatsApp group, and maybe they can also share some experience if they have time. Please note that they're also very busy. It's term 2 now, and they're going to already started the class, and they have a lot of assignments as well to focus on. So give them some time to reply to your email and your questions. Okay, is there a specific number of students taken by OKP scholarship from each eligible country in a year?
I saw that question, yeah. Well, there is a budget available per country, but that is for the whole of the Netherlands. And for example, we get many applications from Nigeria. So there the competition is much bigger than, for example, for a country like Yemen. We hardly have any applications from Yemen, I should say, maybe. Senegal, also French-speaking countries. We do not get many applications for those countries. So there your chances are much bigger to get nominated. So there is a difference, and it depends very much on the number of applications from a country and the chances that you have.
Yeah, I see that there are no more questions. They're now trying to figure out how to get into the group of the WhatsApp. I see that. But is there anything you want to add else as final say?
Yeah. I've received a few emails from people inquiring. I've been admitted already twice. Also applied for OKP. Can I still apply? Why was I not awarded an OKP scholarship, which is always a very difficult question to answer, of course. But sure, if you already applied several times and you still wish to compete, you're very welcome to try again. I know it's disappointing to be receiving the answer, sorry, we can't award you one. And like we've already said, we have a limited number of scholarships available. And we try to distribute that as even as much as even as possible that we can. So please try again, and you are very welcome to submit your application for admission. And please do so as soon as possible, because it takes time to be admitted. Once you have submitted your application in the admission portal, we have to look at the documents, see if you can be admissible. And then once you receive the admission letter and you think you are eligible for the OKP program, like we said, already start preparing your documents. Because it takes time to get the statement from the government maybe, or the statement from your employer, and get your head together to write the motivation and everything. So yeah, please already start thinking of how to get everything together in time.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, sorry, Vika.
Yeah, no, I'm also watching the chat, and I see that everyone is exchanging email addresses and phone numbers to be part of this WhatsApp group, or this whatever group is created to support each other. And I also see questions from people coming like, oh, can you nominate me, and I want to be in, and can you send me the material? The system is opening only in February,
yeah.
So please be patient. It's just not there yet. So please be patient, and the admission office will send you all the information as soon as the system is open to receive the applications. I think if there are no more questions there, I would like to thank everyone for participating, especially thank Gabriella, Esine, Els and Darren for being here with us and answering all the questions that you have. If you have any further questions, please ask them in the WhatsApp group, or I sent a formal message to the admission office if you want to have a formal answer. Of course, you might want to check things also with the admission office. And then all I can say is good luck. Good luck with the process of applying to the ISS and to apply for the OKP scholarship. And we hope to welcome you to walk up these stairs that you see behind us someday in August this year. So thank you for participating, and good luck.
Yeah, and also there are a few questions about recording. You will all receive the recording once I have uploaded in YouTube. So I will send you an email specifically for this. So just hang in there. Give me some time, because it takes some time to upload the video. Okay, good. So thank you very much, Gabriella, Esine, and Esine.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you.
Really appreciate your time. Good luck with all the questions that are going to come towards your way. Take your time in answering them. Also focus on your term 2.
Maybe we should ask the participants to be patient with Gabriella and Esine, because they also have to study sometimes.
Yeah. So please be patient with all your questions. I know you have a lot of things going on, but also please understand Gabriella and Esine as well on their time management because of their education. So with that, I would like to conclude this presentation. If you have any questions, you can ask the admission office at admission@iss.nl, or you can send me an email at study@iss.nl. So thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All the best.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.